Jalen Warren, RB1. He deserves it. Hope he doesn't have the, he needs to be like the program, high and tight all around campus. He can't be having a couple of those dropsies here. Who is your number one running back that you would target in this draft? Let's say, and even if they brought in a free agent guy, I don't think they're making a splash free agent guy, right? They might bring another guy in to be like a body.
Yeah.
Jalen Warren's RB1. There might be a body in here as a veteran type guy. Who are you going after in the draft at the running back position?
So there are
there's a couple I think that'd be great.
There are a couple of them that I feel are like great fits. All right, so I'm gonna tell you what I'm looking for. Okay, looking for a guy who can run between the tackles, but it can home run. You know, he can score from 5 or he can score from 65. That type of running back. Okay. Now everybody's asking the question: if GNT's there, do you take him? Well, if it's me, it'd be very hard to say no. Okay, I didn't say yes. I said it'd be very hard to say no. I wouldn't say yes today, but it'd be very hard to say no. All right, but more realistic, okay? Because I do think Genty's probably going to go to Dallas or something like that. I think somebody's going to move.
He gets past Dallas,
take
I
him
would
early.
be shocked.
Yeah, and I think he's a special talent too. Like I'm going to put it out there. Like I think he's worth the pick. So yeah, I do. But you do need a line. We have that. I think so. Yeah. So anyway, there's a couple guys I'm looking at. Travion Henderson. Okay. That man can flat out fly. 4.39 guy, right? Home run ability. Already used to running a 2-platoon running back situation with Judkins, right?
Yep.
So I think that he's a great guy there. Dylan Sampson from Tennessee, another dude, 5'11", 190, runs a 4.35. Okay,
seeing a theme.
Are you seeing a theme here? So speed kills, guys. Speed kills, and we need some speed. And there's another guy that a lot of people probably do not know. Okay, but because GB goes deep into the archives for things and looks for things like how can we do better. Oh, hi, buddy. How can we do better on offense? I'm gonna throw a name out here. His name is Bracial Tootin from Virginia Tech. I watched this dude's film and fell in love with him. He's an outside zone guy, 5'9", 211. This dude runs a 4.32.
Seeing a theme.
40. Listen, guys. I was one of the biggest Jerome Bettis fans in the history of Jerome Bettis in his whole career here, right? But let's not forget that Jerome Bettis won the Super Bowl when he had Fast Willie Parker alongside him, hitting the home run. It's great to have a hammer. It's great to have thunder, man, but you gotta have some lightning going with that thunder. And Jalen Warren brings that thunder. He's like he reminds me a lot of Doug Martin back in the day from Tampa Bay, like that, just that bowling ball type of guy. And
that is a great comparison.
And you need to have a home run guy because Jalen's gonna get you like he'll get 30. You know what I mean? He won't get away from anybody. Like he's not gonna separate, but he separates enough, right? So he'll still get you 30 or 40. You know,
he has
on a
the
splash.
ability to take it to the house, but he's not gonna do it consistently.
Yes, he's more of a quick, but he'll punish you too, right?
Yeah.
So I think in order to get the most out of our run game, we have to come out of the I don't want to call it the Stone Age. I just think that and I've put this out here, I'm gonna say it again, like Najee reminds me a lot of Edgar Bennett from back in the day. Like there was Edgar Bennett and there was Dorsey Levens, right? They really started doing their thing when Dorsey Levens was at the front of that offense, and not when Edgar Bennett was not the feature, right? And
Dorsey
that's
Levens
and that's and
reference.
that never mind. That's exactly who Najee reminds me of, and it's not a bad thing. It's just
No,
not the
it's a
right
type. It's a
fit.
type of back that he is.
And it's not, and for what we need on offense, we need people who can score from anywhere on the field. He's just not that guy, and that's okay. He's
Yeah,
going to go great. He's going to do great somewhere else. Like there's no if, ands,
yeah,
or buts about it. It's just not a good fit for here. That's
I
it.
agree. And I think that is a very good analysis because I think if we are going to do until told and shown otherwise, going to assume that Justin Fields is the quarterback.
Yes.
Buy
Yes.
into his skill set.
Yes.
If he is here, you and I again, we have been critical of Fields and for good reason.
Facts.
But there is a way I think that he can succeed and succeed immediately.
Yep.
Is if there is a buy-in, wide open offense.
Run that outside zone.
Run that outside zone with these.
That they run a 4-3 and with Justin Fields in the backfield and see how much that opens up a little bit more. That's all I'm
With
going to
Justin
say.
Fields out there, with Pickens and a vet guy out there,
Oh,
with
you
with
kidding me?
Russell Wilson and Austin and who and yeah, dude. I mean, you're starting to get the goosebumps here.
Goosies, bro. Yeah. I
So
think about offense a lot. You got to excuse me.
it's fun stuff. I mean, if you remember Mel Kiper's stupid ass say outlaw the too high safety look and all this other stuff, right? But what is happening that you know what there are a little more too high safety because of the Miami Dolphins, mainly the Tyreek Hill defense.
Yeah.
Even what Kansas City could still do without Tyreek because of Mahomes' arm and whatever, you know. So I think you're starting to see a resurgence of the importance of running backs.
Yep.
And I would love to do I'm going to task you with some research and some of your knowledge. I want to bring
Yep.
in Coach Noel, our buddy Scott, talk about some of this because I want to hear, and you're a good resource as well at the high school level and beyond because that kind of stuff bubbles up. I don't think you're going to get a 1990s running game with a fullback, things like that, because what's the quickest way you get somebody out of too high safety? Bring in a fullback.
100%.
You bring in a tight end at 13 personnel, there's still that passing threat.
Yes.
Right. So that keeps him in that too high because, again, if you bring in a fullback, there's at least 6, 7 people that you don't have to worry about in the passing game. One of them's the quarterback because he's throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Fullback, you don't got to worry about as a passing threat and the 5 offensive linemen. So you can come in with a big nickel and then you can combat that whole thing and it nullifies the run game. I do think what Saquon's doing, Derrick Henry not so much because he's a bigger guy, but you're going to start seeing some guys look at that. I think, he's not as athletic as Saquon, but that's what Gentry could do.
Yes.
But here's what full circle with this. Why I think the running back is important. I do think the Steelers are in a good position to grab the next star, if you will, and we'll see if Warren can do that. Because Ohio State's Henderson, since you're a comparison guy, man, you're hitting the nail on the head with some of these. He's giving me some Jonathan Taylor vibes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
You think about, other than he's a Big Ten 4.39 guy, right? He's good. Judkins is giving me he might end up being the best running back out of all of them.
I know.
Because he's a 4.49, but he's strong. And you know what? And I think you were talking about this before. His top speed is not 4.49. His top speed is faster than that.
Yeah.
His in-game speed, right?
So they timed him on that 71-yard touchdown run, and he topped out at 21.6 miles per hour. Dude, that's flying.
Dude, he'd be speeding in my neighborhood.
Dude, yes.
So
yes, he would get a ticket in the school zone.
Dude, that's like a T-shirt. You're the Tennessee running back who I've liked for 2 years now, right? Yeah. Dylan Sampson.
Yeah.
He's giving me Alvin Kamara vibes.
Yeah.
And reason I'm giving you these comparisons, what if you were to just play imaginary for a minute.
Yep.
Jalen Warren with Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
Jalen Warren with Alvin
Right.
Kamara.
Right.
Even lesser values of those, right? That's the potential 1-2 punch that the Steelers could have with a Justin Fields, with a George Pickens, with a Deebo Samuel or a Devontae Adams, with Calvin Austin, right? And I'm going to give you another name, and I don't know much about the VTech guy. I'm not going to lie, but I heard about his speed. I think Am was posting to the group some of his highlights, and it was definitely jaw-dropping. Raheem Sanders out of South Carolina is also a name to watch out. If you remember, him working, I think he wore number 5. If you remember him and the quarterback down in South Carolina, those boys were giving it to, especially Clemson late in the year.
Yeah.
I like some of those. So and again, there's always some other guys down the road. If you think about it, I mean, 28 to 30% of the NFL roster are free agents, undrafted free agents.
Yeah.
Fast Willie Parker was an undrafted free agent. So there's guys that they get into the right scheme, whatever, and they could just take off. So there could be a guy that's coming up we're not even talking about.
Won't even know about.
But I think those names that we're talking about, I think would hit. That would be an absolute steal if they'd have grabbed one of those guys along with one of those top-tier D linemen.
Yes, 100%.
I do think running backs are going to go quicker than they did before because I think there is that cyclical emphasis on running backs because of the way the defenses are playing now.
Yeah, and look at the impact that James Cook made on the Bills.
Right.
Look at Derrick Henry's impact with the Ravens. Look at Saquon's impact with the Eagles. Hey, even look at a guy like Aaron Jones and his impact with the Vikings. Josh Jacobs with the Packers. So there's a lot of value coming back into that running back room, man. It's just really like you got to have 2 of them, right? You got to have 2.
Yeah, the days of the 25 to 35 carries a game, week in, week out, are not going to happen.
No.
And if you say about that, other than Derrick Henry, you're naming a type. Not only are they good running backs, but they're receiving threats as well.
Yes.
So it's a type of back. Again, even though there's a resurgence in the running game, we are not going back to the 90s with the wishbone or the power eye, all that kind of stuff. Because from a matchup perspective, that doesn't make sense. Even though some of the defenses are getting smaller, they might be getting smaller at the linebacker position, but the safeties are getting bigger.
Yeah.
Because they're more athletic. It's just a different type. And you can big nickel 21 personnel, and they're not going to really do much other than maybe in the goal line here and there.
Right.